before, they all stressed about one point in particular, which was the need for sustainability. So as a part of the sustainability initiative, I request RBK sir to present a sapling to Mr. KSP sir. I also request KSP sir to share a few words. Please, sir.
Very good afternoon, all of you. It's a pleasure to be here again. And the purpose of this particular two-day workshop is being to highlight the electrical safety and a focus on NEC, as all of you know. I think it's a tremendously important subject. And despite being civil engineer, I had a lot of enthusiasm in this subject, though I may not be able to participate in the afternoon sessions, but I will try to understand later. But we will be part of this initiative, and all our engineers are here, and they will be learning a lot. And we look forward for Gopakumar sir, RBK, and Appav sir, for all of us to enlighten us and give path for us to follow. So thank you. All the best to all of you.
Thank you so much, sir. To begin with our first technical session, we have Mr. Uma Mheshwar Bhogi, Superintending Engineer and Regional Inspectorial Organization, South, Chennai. It will be an honor to invite our venerable speaker to offer the keynote address to the gathering on the topic, Introduction to the National Electrical Safety Regulation. The stage is yours, sir.
Good afternoon. I think all of you had a good tea now. Yeah, I think you might have refreshed. So I will tell about the safety regulations. So here, first, I will give an overview of Electricity Act 2003. This one, as you know, the electricity is the contemporary subject. That means it is a central as well as a state subject. So like you see generation, you have a NTPC, central generation stations. And you have a state also having generations. And you have a transmission like you are having the central transmission utilities, like power grid and all these things. ISTS network, interstate transmission network. Like you have a state transcos, like TAN, Transco and all. And you have a distribution companies. Distribution companies mostly with the state government. So only UTs is under the control of the central government. Here, that means there is a coordination is required to run this electrical system. It is a very complex system involving so many players. It actually defines the business of electricity. That means how it will be. Normally, electricity has to be generated. So it has to be generated by some company, some generating companies. Like we have a state generation, central generation, private generation, so many players are there. Like transmission, you have a ISTS network. Previously it was ISTS was owned by the only power grid. Now that has been the government, they have to promote the competition. So that's why they have using the tariff based competitive bidding. So many, any private player can participate it in the ISTS, interstate transmission system, as well as this state transmission, like TAN Transco, AP Transco and all. State level also, there is one transmission company which will handle the higher voltages. Then after that, it will having interconnection with the state distribution companies, like so bigger states, they are having the more distribution companies. So like small states, they may be having only one distribution company. And the Electricity Act, for each and every organization, so each and every part of the generating company, each and everything, so Electricity Act will define the role, how it will be. So in the Electricity Act 2003, this generation is delicensed. That means anybody can put the generation. So such that you should have some power purchase agreement. Either he can become a, what he can say, he can sell it to market also, like power exchanges and all, power exchanging, power trading, he can do anything. And the main, this one is we have to maintain the grid. The grid is very huge interconnection. You see the quantum of electricity is pumping in and pumping out, the generation and load. So for that one, there should be some discipline. So we have to maintain the grid frequency. The frequency band is specified by CERC. So if you are violating the frequency band, suppose you are overdrawing when the frequency is less, you are impacting the grid. So you will be penalized. So like that, there are very strict rules are there. These are being imposed by, rules are set by the regulatory commissions. We have the central regulatory commission, state regulatory commissions. So they do all these things, and they are tightening the band. Now 50 Hz means 50 Hz only. Previously there is some margin, like you can operate in between a 49.5 into 49.87 like that. Now it is narrowed down. You have to operate at 50 Hz only, but near to that one only. You cannot deviate. If you deviate, if you overdraw, then you have to pay the penalty. Like that, in the Electricity Act, there are the provisions to maintain the frequency, maintain the grid. If you see the grid disturbance, it happened in 2012. There was a huge impact. So everything will become standstill. So that's why we have a very strict measures to discipline, to have a single frequency. We have to operate at the same frequency. Means we have to maintain the frequency. We have to maintain within the band. And to increase the competition, like you see, so previously the ISTS network is owned and operated by the power grid only. Now it is being given that that is being bidded. Who will quote low, he will get the project. Like that government system also. So each and everything like SECI, you are identifying different zones and you are bidding. Who will bid for the lesser cost, he will get the project. So this is the part of Electricity Act. It will promote the competition. Competition it will promote. So means the competition means we will get the things at the lower price. That means the final aim is that the consumer has to get at the lesser price. This is the final objective in a reliable and safe manner. Yes. Suppose if you are getting electricity at lower level, what you can say, the reliability is not good. Then it is it is considered as not a good thing. So you have to supply electricity at a lower cost with a reliability, with a good quality. Now the quality also added. The quality means so the frequency, what you can say that harmonics, the voltage levels. So previously we used to see the what you can say the electricity, this tube lights and all. In the villages, they used to get the very low voltage. The tube light cannot glow. Now the situation got changed. You are having in so many industries you might be knowing, there are the charges for the reactive power. You have to, if you are not maintaining the voltage and you are not maintaining the reactive power, so PF, the power factor, then you have to pay the utility. So because you are overdrawing the system, for the same power you are drawing more current, more losses, more voltage drop. Okay, like this, what you can say, for the increasing competition, and these are the main aspects of this Electricity Act. And the safety which is, in the safety also they have mentioned, section 53, they have, the CEA has, can consult the state governments, they can formulate the safety regulations. As a part of it, and in the 73 also they have mentioned, CEA has to specify the safety requirements for construction, operation and maintenance of the electrical plants and electrical lines. So CEA can draft the regulation with the consultation of the states, then that will goes to public for the comments. After that one we will finalize the electrical safety regulations. These are being applicable to all customers, means like consumers, supplier, consumer, so transmission utility, generation utility, each and every industry. And under section 177, CEA can make regulations. These are the powers given by the Act to frame regulation to CEA. And in case of electrical accidents and all, as per section 161 of Electricity Act, So they have to report to electrical inspector what have that accident report. Then in case government thinks that this has to be inquired, they can ask the electrical inspector to inquire into that one. And under section 162 of Electricity Act, these electrical inspectors are notified and chief electrical inspectors are notified. These are the safety related aspects in the Electricity Act. We have by this process we have made the regulation. So previously it was a 1956 IE rules. In 2010 we have made the regulations. We have repealed that 1956 IE rules, and later to that one we have made some amendments in 15, 18 and 19. And recently, we are about to notify that recent amendment, so one more amendment. So, wherein we have previously in the previous regulations, the regulations are recommending NEC and all the safety codes, BIS and IEC, all these things. But here in this new regulations, it is, in the previous regulations, they may adopt they may recommend, they may do, the safety codes can be utilized, can be followed. But now that may is replaced by shall. That means they have to follow the BIS, NEC, as per applicable codes they have to follow as per the regulation. So that means the codes are compulsory now. Here in this regulation, I will give a just brief of this regulation, overview of this regulation. Here having the different chapters, here like that chapter 1, chapter 2. Chapter 2 is regarding, so I will tell you. And the new proposed regulations, there was no chapters on the solar plant, wind plant and HVDC. We have included this one, it will be published soon. That means within a 1 week that new amendment will come into effect. Wherein we have included these chapters after consultation with all the stakeholders. And the chapter 2 of this one is designated persons. So here certificate of what you can say, supervisor competency certificate, the certificates, the electricity licensing board will be there for each and every state. They will issue certificate whether you can work or not on electrical equipment or not. That they will issue it. So why it is required? So normally if you are doing some civil construction, something like that, you did not require anything. But in case of electricity, which is a different nature, the fatality, the severity will be much, much more. So that's why you require some license. In the licensing board, they will check the capability of the person. They will take some test. So that's why we require that whoever working, they should have the supervisory competency certificate. The persons, if some person is working, they should work under them only. If he is not having that competency certificate, so he cannot eligible to work. And in this one, whoever industry are there, so they have to maintain the register, who are the designated persons for that work. You should have some proper employee list, and what is the qualifications, what is this one, so everything has to be shown. And when the inspector goes to the inspection, they have to give that list. Who are the employees, what are their certificate of competency of electrical, all these things has to be provided to the electrical inspector, as well as it is better for that one only, better for the industry only. If you are having a person who knows the things, he can deal in a better way. The electrical safety officer. The electrical safety officer is an electrical engineer having a 5 years experience, a diploma holder having a 10 years experience. So this electrical safety officer, if any industry which is having 250 kilowatt and above load, they have to appoint electrical safety officer. So he has to ensure all the periodic tests. Suppose we are installing some equipment, we are forgetting it. Then it does not, after some time it may having some problem, some accidents may happen, something may happen, some equipment may failure, some big equipments. So that's why the periodical testing we have to do it. The test and all these things has to be ensured. This has to be ensured by the electrical safety officer. And the qualifications, as I told, the qualifications of the persons working and all, they have to be tabulated. They have to be kept in the control room, something like that, with the management. General safety requirement. Here you see the regulation 12. So it is mentioned that BIS or NEC may be followed, maybe. In the amendment which is going to publish, we are replaced may with shall. So that means whatever the installations are there, they have to compulsory follow the BIS and NEC. And all the material has to be BIS or IEC standard. Suppose BIS standards is not there, they have to follow the international standards. And whatever equipment you install above the mean sea level. So because if it is, suppose there is a water logging is there, something like that, then it's an electrical thing. So water is having affinity. So it may cause damage to the equipment and the safety purpose also. So these, please note that these NEC is, the BIS or NEC is compulsory now. So which will be published, the amendment will be going to come in within 1 week. So after that, this is compulsory. In the regulation 13, the service lines and apparatus on the consumer premises. So consumer, suppose one supplier is there, some distribution company is there. If he is putting his equipment like the meter and the main switch and all, so the responsibility is with the consumer as well as the supplier also. Like the distribution company as well as the consumer also. He has to maintain that one in a safe manner. Switchgear on the consumer premises. In the consumer premises also, he has to provide the isolation switch in case of any accident and all. So we have to isolate it, no? So that's why he has to provide the isolation equipment with adequately enclosed fire-proof receptacle. It should not catch the fire and all. So like that, in case of any emergency, they should have a isolation device for each and every service line. So identification of the earthed and earthed neutral conductors. Comparing to phase and all, the earth and all should have a different color coding and different identification. Earthed terminal in consumer premises. Normally earthed terminals and the lower voltages, that has to be maintained by the supplier. That means distribution company. But higher voltages, so they should have their own earthing system, like earth grid and all. Okay. Earth pits and all these things. And if you see, as per the regulation, if bare conductors are there, so that should not be accessible. So because these to be, if you see, it has to be, nobody should approach there. Like danger plates, you see danger plates as per the IS standards only. So it should have it should be in multi languages like English, Hindi and local languages. You see in the right side, danger plate they have put, but it is totally faded out. It should not be like that. And before the electricity, before doing any work, we have to isolate, we have to discharge the charges, whatever the static charges are there, that has to be discharged through earthing. Then only you can do the work on that one. So like that you should, in all the switch gears and you can see this one, isolate the power supply before opening the panel cover. This is the mandatory requirement. And before doing all the non-current carrying metal pots, which are not supposed to carry current, they has to be earthed. That's why you are providing the body earth and all. That's very much important. So handling electrical lines and apparatus. If you see, while you are handling any electrical equipment, you should wear like hand gloves, the shoes. You should wear the, in case of you are working in height, you should safety belt. and proper all these tools like rubber gloves, rubber safety footwear, and that voltage before doing any work, we have to see that one, no, whether the voltage has totally discharged or not, so that you have to see it. So you have to follow all these procedures, and before doing any work, you have to make it earthed. So after isolation, first you do isolation, then earthing, then you have to proceed for the work. You have to doubly ensure it. This is very, very simple things. So simple things only, if you don't follow the simple things, it will create some type of accidents and fatal accidents. The electrical is very simple thing, but thing is that if you don't do it, so definitely it is a very, very big hazard. For example, I am telling one example. So when I worked in a nuclear power plant, so one operator was there. So there is two switches are there. One is power rise, one is reactor trip. While speaking with his colleague, so he want to raise the power, but he tripped the reactor. It is just beside only. But while speaking with others, no, the same case what happens, you are suppose two workers are there. So normally in the shift and all, you put in electrical two workers. One will check it and another will identify it. But in the field, what will happen? They speak something about. So they don't cross check it. Whether you are isolating or not, they don't cross check it. They simply chit chat about something. Okay. So suppose if you want to isolate something, if you want to work something, so if you are doing on the wrong equipment, wrong breaker, something like that, you will get electrocuted. At that the reactor got tripped, nothing will happen, no. So because only it is financial issue only, because they have some losses. But if you lose your life, it's a very simple thing. You have to identify it, you have to cross check it, doubly ensure it. These are the minimum requirement we have to do in the electrical field. So like that, so you have to doubly ensure that whatever you are doing is the correct thing only, because here all are engineers, they don't work on field, but they have to inculcate this culture in the lower level, because life is life, whoever it may be. So because while you are doing the pre-job briefing and post-job feedback, whatever you are doing, you have to tell the value of the life to them. Because electrical accidents are totally different than other accidents. Other accidents, something will happen, your hand will go, leg will, something will happen. But electricity means fatal. So once something happens, it is fatal only. Because that's why we have to be too much careful, and you should have so much negative thinking. If suppose if that might happen, what will happen? The negative thinking should be there in electrical field. Like that, you have to do the earthing and all here. You see the basic instruments we are using: voltmeter, ammeter, multimeter. These are things we have to use it. You have to use for the testing all these things. And for this PPEs, this IS codes has to be followed. So this IS codes are, because what the madam has said, that the IS code is whatever they are making the equipment, and somebody is ensuring that is properly designed and properly this one or not. That is a certification. Some external agency, some government agency is certifying that the company is making as per the procedure, that is as per the standards. So that has to be there. You see, like the cables for the portable transportable apparatus, suppose something is moving and all, so where you have to use the cable, it should have the heavily insulated, adequately having the mechanical strength and all you should have. You see here the cables are not in a good shape, like not properly laid and all. And distinction. So different circuits, if you are having different circuits and all, you have to properly distinguish between that one. You should have a different naming culture. So like circuit 1, circuit 2, something like that, for identification each and everything. So identification is very much important. In the panel also, suppose you are working on the back side of the panel, you have to name the load also at the back side also. So because when you are isolating that one, when you are working that one, you can ensure that it is a properly matched or not. And you accidental charging, suppose AC and DC are there should not be any accidental charging should be there. And these are the safety, for the safety, like fire bucket, you should have the buckets, you should have a dry sand. In case of electrical fire, you have to, on that one you can douse that fire and electrical fire with this one. You should have a fire extinguishers, and it should be regularly tested and all. Once in a year they have to test it. And you should have a first aid kit. First aid kit, it should have all the material as per that government description and all. And gas masks also should be there in case of the power plant like 5 megawatt and 5 MVA. As per the regulation, they should have a more than 2 gas masks. And in case any shock happened, that shock treatment chart, that has to be there. It should be in the long ways, the same long ways where the installation is there. It should be there, and the people should be trained in that one. So they should know it. Somebody should know it. In case that happens, what is to be done? And as you know, this electrical is totally different than others. The electrical, as per the regulation 29, whoever, suppose if you are doing a small in the household items, so replacement like bulb replacement, fan replacement, and then nothing is required. But in case more than that, 250 volts and above, whatever things you want to do, it has to be done by the electrical contractor only. The contractor should have the certified, electrical supervisory certificate holders. He should have certain instruments. These are to be done by the state licensing boards. And any work should not be given to the person who don't have the electrical contractor license. And this is the periodic inspections. The periodic inspections, at least by, as per the government, as per this regulation, at least once in 5 years, so it has to be periodically inspected above the notified voltage, depending on the government. And normally for the central government, 650 volts and above, below it is a 4 years, and above it is a 2 years, once in 2 years. But some state government, they mention once in a year also. They will call for the periodic inspection. Here, in case of high-rise building, as you see now, the high-rise buildings are much more now. They are coming up like anything. So here you have to mention that the state government will mention, so at what voltage and what load that has to be inspected by the inspector. And the supply has to be given after the electrical inspector clearance only. At there, what you have to do after one point, that the common isolation device, it has to be put at the level of, it should not be more than 1.7 meters above. It should be below that one only. So that means it should be approachable. It has to be, the installation shall ensure that prevent the danger due to the shock and fire hazards and installation. You see here, the installation shall ensure the prevent danger due to the shock. Installation has to be maintained safely. So, and according with the relevant codes of practice. Installation is carried out, the installation is carried out in accordance with the relevant codes of practice, like BIS and NEC, this course has to be there. So here, it is in the amendment, it is written that the lightning protection of the building shall be as per the relevant standards. Here it is mentioned shall, that means it is a compulsory. So compulsory, you have to follow the codes as per the new amendment. Yes. So only that that power cables has to be put in the all the power cables has to be put in that in the corridors in this this one where it is required. If you want to lay some other service lines like gas lines, you cannot include the power cable and gas line at one place. So suppose if it is crossing, means you have to put fire barriers. So at leakage protection device, as per this one, before that one 2 kilowatt and below, 2 kilowatt and below it is not required, but as of recent amendment, it has to be compulsory. Compulsory RCCB should be there. for all loads. Approval of this electrical inspector for the new installations, if it is more than 6 months, so any modification if you do, we have to do 43. And these are the protections you have to, like overcurrent, earth fault protection, you have to use it. As per the regulation, suppose 100 kVA and above generators, you should use earth fault and leakage protection. So 1 MVA and all restricted earth fault you have to use. And here transformers, 1 MVA and all the gas pressure type and book holes, all these things you have to use. And 10 MVA and above differential protection to isolate this in case of any incipient faults and all, you have to use it. There should not be any joint between in one span in case of transmission lines. So guarding should be there. If any line is crossing, overhead line is crossing, so it should have been guarded, the low voltage lines. And in case of cables and all, there is a depth minimum is there, 1.2 meters. So below, above that one, you should not place any cable. There should be some horizontal distance should be there. So here the below electrical lines, nothing should be kept. So any flammable material, these things should not be kept below the electrical lines and all. And these are the clearances. Any overhead line is there, you should not construct any building below that one. You see, any building you should not construct. Suppose the building is there, overhead line should not cross. These things are there. Suppose if that is not avoidable, so then these clearances you have to maintain the clearances. As you should not keep any flammable material. So below the transmission line and above the cable, you should not do it. And crossing of the line, you should for the induction effect and all, you should cross at the right angles only. And if you are having like NH crossing and all, you should have so both sides you should have a towers at the minimum span and all. So you should have a very strong tower for that one. Here the inspection is under edition 30, 32, 36, 43, inspector role is there. And these are the accidents. So normally accidents happens at the very lower level only, like 11 kV or 15 kV only. So that's why distribution sector is more, what you can say, more important. They have to concentrate on the safety than the other industries and all. The accidents are more at there only. A supplier has to maintain that one. You see the accidents are, you see, not reducing, so almost equal only. And as I told, the system is increasing. Like we are going for very huge expansion of the electricity. So that if the system is more, means more manpower is included. The accidents has increased, no, means we have to reduce that one. So that means we have to do very concrete efforts to reduce the accidents. Yeah, that means that your system is increasing, there is more danger. Still you have to act in an apt manner, you have to reduce the accidents. You see, that means if you see this one, you see the human fatal accidents. So 21, 22, 3646, that means every day 10 persons are expiring because of this electricity. So if anything happens to the person, the family, you know, so they think that why electricity is required. If my person is not there, electricity is not required for me. So on the other hand, we are enjoying it. So we have to be very much careful in case of electricity. You are engineers, so under you who are working, you have to inculcate that safety culture. You see, these are the main reasons of the accidents, like inadequate use of the substandard PPE, the equipments are substandard, and substandard quality of wiring, no heat, taking lightly, the situation are taking lightly, electrical, you should not take it lightly. And short circuits in the building due to the lack of maintenance and all. As everybody has mentioned that almost 20–25% the fire accidents is because of electrical short circuits only. So that you have to maintain the electrical wiring and all these things. And you have to periodically inspect that one. Electrocution in houses are frequent due to the lack of proper safety devices like RCCBs and all. They have to utilize that one, earthing protections. Otherwise, it will not trip it. It will not trip, then it will become an accident. And lack of proper earthing system. These are the things we have to concentrate. We have to improve on this one. Let us work together in creating electrical accident-free India. We should create such awareness. by complying all safety standards like regulations and IEC, NEC, IS codes, we have to follow all these codes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for providing us a very broad and detailed insight into the National Electrical Safety Regulation.